All right. Hello, beautiful people of YouTube. It is the 28th of May for us at 10 a.m. It is the 27th of May for you around 8 p.m. So if you're on the East Coast. But we appreciate you guys for being here with us. We are going to be looking at your Dynasty football teams. Obviously, the Knicks play tonight, so I'm sure there'll be some Knicks talk as well. But we're going to be looking at Dynasty teams. We are going to be helping you improve your Dynasty teams, and we're excited to be here with you. What's up, Jacob? Welcome into the building. What's up, Xeno? Welcome into the building. What is your confidence level, Badaki, of your New York Knickerbockers for game number 4? Where do you currently lie? Because going down 3-1 historically is a death sentence. Are you feeling hopeful, optimistic, or are you more panic mode? What's the status at right now?
Honestly, not that I don't really know how I feel. It's just if we lose this game, like you said, historically, it's not okay. So I think we got away with one. They got away with one. Can we even it out? Essentially, they won game 1 because we were completely dominating. We came back game 3, game 2, we just got slammed.
Yeah.
But now can we come back and respond and have that momentum? So I don't really know. I'm just gonna let them do their thing.
Love it. What's up, Scribbles? What's up, Tom? TD's here. G is here. I see Macy. 100 days until kickoff. Wow. See, I remember when there was 100 days until the draft.
And now we're 100 days.
We're gonna be in Austin so soon, and then it's gonna be week 1 before we can even blink. What's up, Bo? Welcome in. What's up, Theron? What's up, Chargers fan? What's up, Albert? Welcome into the building.
How we
What's
feeling,
up,
y'all?
Tom?
How we feeling?
I love all the deals everyone's getting done there. Today's stream is going to be pretty much dedicated towards helping people build better Dynasty teams. All right, there's a lot of live teams that we're going to get to today. If you have an offline playbook, I'll tell you my goal is to get to yours tomorrow so we can still get that out to you before the weekend. We'll definitely 100% do that for Driston, Mike, Phantom, and MRL because they got theirs in a couple days, 4 days ago or so. Yeah. But tonight we are going to be doing a live team playbook for JTOV, for Perry, for Sean, for Scooty, for Josh is offline right now, as well as Flair. And I think those are the main ones. There might be some others, but thank you, babe. Appreciate it. And yeah, we're going to have a great night. We appreciate you guys for being here with us. Now, if you want to get your team playbook in, it's a great time to do so because this entire stream is going to be dedicated towards team playbooks and helping you guys build better teams. You can get your team playbook, customized game plan for your offseason, customized to your team, right? You can get that by becoming a promo code LAND annual Mother Flocker member. That will give you a voucher for a team review that you can use through the Flock store. Choose Zach and Badaki. And then crucial, you got to slide that tier, that little slider up to live if you want it shown on the live stream, right? For our annual members, it'll just be a $7 upgrade. You can go through the same process and get a team playbook if you're a member of a different promo code. You just won't have that voucher. And obviously, when you become an annual member, there are a lot of perks, right? You get the rookie report, you get our Dynasty playbook, you get the Dynasty trade dial, which is one of the most helpful, impactful tools for trading throughout the entire year. You get the trade question voucher, our complete rankings, premium tools databases, our Discord as well. So definitely consider supporting the show and helping us keep the lights on here. What's up, Charlie? What's up, Theron, McNugget? Sean, Styles is here. What's up, Edwin? Appreciate y'all for being here. What's up, Matt? Morning, guys.
Love.
But we got a lot of team playbooks to get through today. So if you're wanting a question answered, definitely Badaki put that link in the chat where they can submit it through the site. But because of just the pure volume of playbooks we have, we're going to need to try and focus in here and get through some of these and really get, go to town, as it were. That's maybe not the right saying. There's probably a better way to say that. But yes, let's go ahead and let's look at JTOV's team here to start.
All right, JTOV, let us know if you're here with us. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for your support. It looks like this is a 2 quarterback, 12 team start 11. I'll put that in the chat here for you. so everyone knows, which means that is a rolling deep, meaning you can start up to 6 wide receivers. He says trying to trade for Cam. Lamar is off the table. Fields and Purdy are available. I don't mind slightly overpaying. My back is against the wall, but I'm not panicking. I think I can get Tua, Young, or Stroud on the cheap. Love to hear your thoughts. And your team name is Bada Bing.
Okay.
And you are currently ranked 4 out of 12. All right, let's have a look at this team. At the quarterback position, Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, Will Levis. That's why you're trying to get another quarterback here. At
When he
the
says
running back
Cam, do
position,
you think you meant Cam Ward?
I was thinking Cam Ward, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was just clarifying there. Go ahead.
At the running back position, Omarion, Quinshawn, RJ, Bashul, Pacheco, and the list goes on. Not much there. And
What?
at the wide,
Not
well,
much.
there is much. Sorry,
What are
what
you
I mean,
talking
like, you're right. At the running back
It's a
position,
great
the
running back room. You should feel
at the wide
very good
receiver
about it.
position, you can start up to 6 wide receivers. Malik, Brian Thomas, Rashee Rice, Garrett Wilson, Josh Downs, Kyle Williams, and Alec Ayo Manor there. So a little bit. Actually, I think that's okay. I think, Downs and Kyle, you're going to have to rely on there. It might be a little bit tougher. You can throw in one of those rookie running backs within Sam Laporta there.
I will say I love your running back and wide receiver room. I think it's extremely impressive, the rooms that you've put together there. I think you're underselling it a little bit. I think we should be a little more excited about this team personally. I think if you and I had rosters like this, we would be in love with these rosters outside of the quarterback room. That's where this completely falls apart. I think that is the main issue with this team. And we don't even know if you can rely on Anthony Richardson long term, or even like Daniel Jones probably isn't the answer long term. Either way, we don't know if you can rely on either of those guys long term.
On either of those guys, yeah.
So that's where the roster takes a pretty massive hit. It's interesting. Let's go through admin and before we talk about pathway here, because it's an interesting roster. We'll talk about this, but go through admin first.
Yeah. Untouchables, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas holds. I guess you're going to have to hold Anthony Richardson. You could hold Rashee Rice. You could also hold, I guess, Isaiah Likely. This is a 0.5 tight end premium. And then another person that you can potentially hold would probably be Isaac Garendo. Those are the 4 holds that I would say. And since you've already done your draft, I guess you can drop names like Jaleel McLaughlin and Christian Kirk if you wanted to. Those are the guys that I personally would be dropping there.
Yeah, there's no one on your waiver wire that is interesting whatsoever. Look, if we were grading your team based off of the team outside of the quarterback room, this is probably an A flat. But
yeah,
when quarterback room is one of the most important in Superflex, right? You can't win without a good or even mediocre quarterback room. So your starting lineup right now is probably Anthony Richardson. You don't have another quarterback you can start, so you would go Hampton, Judkins, Neighbors, Thomas, Laporta. Then we would be starting in our flex Rice, Wilson, Harvey, Pacheco, and then maybe Downs or Javonte or something like that. So
yeah.
It's definitely look, it's a good team. You're really like a quarterback away. I don't know that I want to go all in on a quarterback this year. The reason I say that is because you're going to have to rely on Hampton, Judkins, Harvey producing straight away. You're going to have to bet on Rice not getting suspended, Downs becoming something. But
yeah, I
still
kind of get what you're saying.
I am still open to trading for a quarterback. Like, if you got a Goff or a Baker on this team, I think it would look a little more hopeful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it just depends on how much you want to spend as well. Like Zach was saying, like you have to rely on a lot of these rookies to kind of take you, specifically at the running back position. So, like, even if you were to get, like, a Dak Prescott, a Matthew Stafford, a Geno Smith to see how you kind of go, then you can do that as well. That's probably the cheapest route that you can go.
Yeah, I just want to reply to Darth real quick. Yes, when you become an annual Mother Flocker member, you get a voucher to submit a team review with us. Now, just keep in mind, though, that voucher gives you the offline playbook for free. It's just a $7 upgrade when you move that slider for annual members to get it on the live stream, okay? Because we do 2 versions of our playbook. The offline, which is the base one, and the live one. The live one is the one where you see on the stream. The offline one is where I'm writing up an article for your team on the back end with your playbook, right? So let me know if that makes sense. But yes, absolutely. And then obviously you get so many other perks with your membership. But let me know if you have any questions. So from a pathway perspective, this is so interesting because
yeah, I mean,
I kind of lean towards being more of a sleeper. I guess it depends on what, because if we fix quarterback, it means we lose our draft capital. Or we're on the same page, right? Like, you can't really afford to go out and trade some of these names. I guess you could justify tearing down from like a Brian Thomas and getting a quarterback. Maybe we could look at that. But you're likely going to lose your first round pick next year if you address the quarterback room. But then again, we're still going to have to rely on a lot of young players to produce straight away. I kind of more lean towards the sleeper pathway here, where we're not going to force it and let the team develop, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, like, let's just see what cheap quarterback that we can get without really trying to get rid of our superstars.
Yeah.
Using a second, using a third, using 2 seconds to see where you can get, because I would personally rather go that way. At least that's what
so you want to go like Geno Smith, Matt Stafford.
Yeah, let's see if we get Geno Smith, Matt Stafford, because once again, like you kind of mentioned, what happens if Anthony Richardson doesn't hit and he's the same old Anthony Richardson, but you just paid up for, Justin Herbert, and it's like, well, my QB2 is shit anyway.
Yeah.
We might as well just play the safe route and wait and utilize and hold our capital for later.
Okay.
That's how I would go.
That makes sense. We are going to go sleeper pathway here. Overall team grade, I don't think I gave one, did I? Because I just talked about right. So I think with the quarterbacks, you're probably more like a B-, right, than A flat. It's a really good team, but that's crucial. And then draft capital is just a B flat. There's no additional picks, but you have all your own, which is great. So we can jump into the chalkboard here, looking at your draft. I really like your draft. If you think about this team, if you were to remove Hampton, Harvey, and Judkins, I mean, your running back room would be completely naked. So I think in a good running back class, you completely address that position of need, and you got very, very valuable players. I gave you an A-. I like the additions of the Tutons, Kyles, A.O. Manners in a start 11. Those are great dart throws. Now, I think Badaki and I mentioned our goal is really to hit that veteran market and look for a quarterback that we can send a second-round pick for. Now, I don't think that you can do that for like a Dak, Bryce, maybe Tua. Maybe Tua is the first name that you could look at. I certainly think Geno Smith you could do it for. Matt Stafford you could do it for. You could even go cheaper. Oh, well, Justin Fields, I would be willing to actually pay a second and your third for a Justin Fields. He would definitely be a great addition. Then Sam Darnold we could do the second round pick for. I think if we're going by like, if we were to order this from our preference, I think Fields would be my preference. Then it would go to Tags, Smith, Smith, then Stafford.
Smith,
in this order that I have it here.
Okay, sure.
But could you justify a Tyler Shuck, maybe sitting your second for Tyler Shuck? Maybe you prefer doing that over a Stafford. Geno's a guarantee, so maybe not Geno. But Stafford's a little bit up there in age. Maybe you prefer seeing what Shuck can do, and he kind of fits maybe. I feel like Tyler Shuck and Justin Fields fit your timeline a little bit better than the other names. But I think those are really like the 6 names that make sense to me if we're going to try and Band-Aid it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm really happy with that. I'm not a big. I guess Sam Darnold is totally fine. But like Sam Darnold probably the last guy I would rather see.
Okay.
Where I can go with these other guys, but that's my personal preference. But all these names are totally fine. I do like Justin Fields as being the number 1 guy, though.
Yeah, there's not another name that really stands out. I mean, you could try and just send a 4th for Aaron Rodgers right now. You know, that's a sneaky move.
What is a sneaky move?
Just because if he doesn't play, you lost a 4th. If he does play, you got a starting quarterback, quote unquote, for that's the definition of a Band-Aid. That's not even a Band-Aid. that's when you go to your local CVS and it's the off-brand of Band-Aid. That's what you're getting there. So
off-brand of Band-Aid.
There, there's a couple options there, I think, to really give you that ability to, and again, we don't even know if you can rely on Richardson or Jones, but I think let's say you add a Geno Smith, just hypothetically, right? Okay, so Geno and A-Rich you can start ideally, if not Jones. Then the rest of your roster is going to determine whether you really feel comfortable spending that first to upgrade in season, right? So if Hampton, Judkins, Harvey, Rice is not suspended, all these guys start to dominate, and Pacheco's still reliable, Bigsby becomes something, Javonte, then you can justify in season saying, okay, can I add my 26 first to A-Rich or to Daniel Jones at that time, or my 26 first to Darnold, which you have, and really seriously upgrade the quarterback position. But if worse comes to worse and it does not work out and these guys need more time to really produce for your offense or for your team straight away in the future, whatever, then you still have your first round pick, which could be valuable in a class that has a lot of quarterbacks that have upside. So and look, there's not really a name here that I would say I'm desperately wanting to sell, but I will say I'm just going to give you a list of in-season sells, and this is specifically, like if you retool, right? So if you're looking at the first 6 weeks of your season and you're like, I'm not competitive, this is not working out, Pacheco would come to mind. We can sell Pacheco in season. Javonte Williams. Is there any other names that come to mind for you?
Let me just see. I was already setting up the next one.
No, that's okay. Javonte,
Williams.
Pacheco, Williams. That's really the main names I would say. So like Pacheco, I mean, can you get a mid-second for him? Javonte, can you get any second?
I'll probably say Tank as well. I guess he has Bashul. Maybe not. I'm happy to hold him, I guess.
Yeah.
But I would just say Tank depending on the season and how it goes. Sell them high at a certain point, Yeah.
I think that is a good game plan for your offseason, my friend. And full transparency, Badaki and I probably haven't said it yet, but you might have realized we are not opposed to not making a move at all either with the roster that you have. So just giving you all the options.
I completely agree. Just once again, don't force anything. I know you want a quarterback. I know you want to try and compete because you have a really good team, and you feel confident in that. But like, don't give up your first, not in 26, not in 27, because once you give up that first for a quarterback, and then hypothetically Anthony Richardson, let's just say you give up your first and a second, and you get Justin Herbert, and then Anthony Richardson shits the bed.
Yeah,
you're in the same spot that you were in the beginning of this season, right? So just wait and see what happens.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
All right, we appreciate you, my friend. What do we think time-wise for this playbook, Badaki? What are we saying right now?
Yeah, so like everyone, 24 to 48 hours, you should be receiving your playbook in the Flock Fantasy Message System, customized with everything that we drew up here for you today. But thank you so much for the support there, JTOV.
Yes.
And once again, definitely check that out in the Flock Fantasy Message System.
And when he says message system, he means the My Reviews tab. And in your reviews, there's a message tab on your review. So just want to be, clear with that. Let's go on to Perry here. Perry is next. All right, let's go. You like peri sauce? There's a sauce in Australia. I think it's Nando's, right? Nando's is big in the UK. Peri sauce. I'm not a Nando's guy, honestly. Well, I hear Nando's is better than UK. Guy. It's really not that good here, but
I guess I want to say I'm not a big sauce guy. Like, I'm not a big I'm okay with just ketchup, man.
Give me some really?
Ketchup. Give me some ketchup, some barbecue sauce. Call it a day.
Yeah, I love me some sauces.
I like there's a sauce from like Kohl's or Woolies that they sell. It's like an orange bottle and it's a little bit spicy.
Okay. Yeah.
It's also like the Asian like mayonnaise. You know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about Kewpie. Kewpie mayo.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the orange.
Yeah,
one.
The orange Kewpie mayo. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm talking about that one. That one's really good. I like that.
All right, Perry. Anyways, let's have a look.
Appreciate you, Perry. 2 quarterback, 12 team, start 9. That is our classic meat and potatoes there. With a 1 point tight end premium there. He says, I know I don't have no draft capital, which is what you've dinged me for in the past as well, but I feel like I've made some decent moves to upgrade with what I had and need some help figuring out where to go from here. Have an offer for golf and 3 firsts for Caleb, but all mid to late.
Wow, that is a
226
lot for Caleb.
and a first. Yeah, that is a lot for Caleb.
To start 9, we'll think about that. But I mean, that, like, if Caleb breaks out, is his value higher than 3 firsts and a quarterback that costs a first? Is his value higher than 4 quarterbacks, even if he reaches his potential? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's very interesting. But he's ranked 5th overall in this league, by the way.
Yeah, let's have a look at this team. Josh Allen, Caleb, Michael Penix there. I think that's a great quarterback room. You don't really have to do anything there. At the running back position, Chuba Hubbard, David Montgomery, James Conner, Jordan Mason, Isaac Garendo there, and the list goes on. That's a decent running back room. Not the strongest, but that's okay, especially for a start 9. You can start up to 4 wide receivers in this league. Drake London, T. Higgins, Devonta Smith, and then your next wide receiver is Jawan Jennings. So not the strongest are a wide receiver 4 with Sam Laporta and no draft capital. Let's go straight into some admin here. Obviously, some holds that we want to be, or untouchables, excuse me, that we want to be keeping is Josh Allen, and probably just Josh Allen for a team like this. I don't see anyone else that is an untouchable. Holds, I would say the names like Jordan Mason, Isaac Garendo. I would also put a name like Michael Penix in there.
Elijah Royal.
And then Elijah Royal. Yeah, we can do that. And drops, I guess
Palmer,
you can
Whittington
drop
if you need
Palmer, Whittington, yeah. But I'm just checking your waiver wires.
The waiver wire is... Oh, actually, Marshawn Lloyd is
yeah, Marshawn Lloyd
for sure.
is somebody you should definitely pick up. Yeah, so drop Josh Palmer, Jordan Whittington, pick up Marshawn Lloyd there. I think that's about it.
Yeah, look, team's good. I almost see no reason not to take the trade that he mentioned, but we'll talk this through. So right now you're probably starting Josh Allen and Caleb, Chuba Monty, London T, Laporta, and a full point premium. That's great, but you have to flex 2 more names between Devonta, Connor. You've got it. There is no depth. That's fine in a start 9. Hypothetically, if someone gets injured, you might have to address it, but you don't have the draft capital right now to address it if you were to come into an issue like that. So overall, I would give this team probably a B+.
Yeah, I'm there with
If it was a bigger starting lineup, maybe a B-, but B+ in a start 9. And when we look at like a pathway, I think we're definitely windows open there. We have none of our own picks outside of 4th in 27. So we're very clearly in the all-in category with this roster. Now, should we go to the chalkboard?
Yeah. What was the draft capital? Sorry.
Draft capital grade. I mean, look, you just got to put an F. There is no draft capital, right? Like, and it's okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
You don't have to have draft capital, right, with the team you have, but yeah, it's terrible.
Double check that,
and that's okay, right? Like, it's all right not to have 17 first-round picks if you have a team that can compete. I will say, for a team that doesn't have any future firsts, with Chuba Hubbard being your RB1, it's a little surprising. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the current offer that he mentioned was Caleb.
It was Caleb in like 2 firsts or something like that.
For golf and 3 firsts.
He says have an offer for golf and 3 firsts for Caleb.
Yeah, so Caleb Williams, and he's going to get 2 26 firsts and 1 27 first. And Jared Goff.
And Jared Goff, yeah. So 226 first and Jared Goff.
This is the price you pay if he breaks out this year. This is not the price you pay for a pre-breakout Caleb Williams. You know, so this is, in my opinion, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't accept this. Then you can use those 3 first-round picks to build out a little bit of a better roster, right? So that is an absolute yes, please. Thank you, mommy. Now, when we look at those picks, we try and decide how do we utilize those picks. And maybe we should look at this team first. So this guy's got a shit ton of picks. I guess he's probably not willing to part with any assets because he's such a young team. And it looks like he's really building through the draft. But could we, like, would he be interested in a deal where we, instead of those 226 first, we get Devon Achane? You know, like something like that.
Yeah.
So,
that can work.
And
Sure.
instead of it being the 226 first, it's Goff, Achane, and a first. That's still, in my opinion, a massive overpay for Caleb Williams. But if he's truly in like this rebuild mode, maybe he doesn't want to build around an Achane long term. I don't really see another pathway there outside of the picks, so I have no problem taking those picks. And then what we can do is we can look at another roster that is very pick heavy. For example, like show me your TDs. Can we go get a CD Lamb from them? Can we go get a Travion Henderson? You know, can we send those 226 first after this deal is complete for a Travion Henderson? And, you know, I'm just thinking out loud here. Can we add a Ken Walker to the deal? Look, I think Travion Henderson is fine. Maybe we ask back for something small like Michael Pittman or something.
Yeah.
You know, Zach Charbonnet. Something, you know, simple like that. Again, you said these are going to be late first anyway. So can you just add to that running back room a little bit more? Maybe you don't feel comfortable doing that for him, but what about going out and sending that for Saquon Barkley? You know, let's go even further all in. So then you turn Caleb Williams into Jared Goff, Saquon Barkley in a first. That's ridiculous. That's insanity. So can you do something like that? You know, if he's not willing to move Saquon for 2 firsts, we can find a different suitor for those picks, which we will in a second. Let's see who makes sense. The Jahmyr Gibbs owner. Could you turn those 3 first-round picks into Jahmyr Gibbs? So you end up going from Caleb Williams to Jared Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs, right?
Yeah.
And you're
Wait,
going
is this
all
Perry,
in,
by the way?
And you're staying
Zachary Wallace,
super
says
young.
We here, boys. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify. I didn't know if it was him or not, but
no, that's okay. Just trying to think of other ideas. You know, can we go get a Bucky Irving and send, you know, that a 26 first plus? Who do you have on your roster? Because we could try and do like an upgrade here. What do you think? Like maybe we add Monty and then see if we can get something back with Bucky.
See if we can get send Monty, or I don't mind moving James, but I
Monty or James, and then we get back a Cortland Sutton. You know, an Aaron Jones, a Jerry Jeudy. Obviously, Judy's probably the preference there, but not as realistic as these other names. Could I say Aaron Jones? You know, you can decide exactly what that looks like for you, but I mean, I see no reason not to accept that. I mean, maybe we even go cheaper, or we try and upgrade the roster overall by going CMC Nico, right? We go out there, we send. You might have to send all of those firsts, but I don't really mind that if it lands you CMC and Nico Collins. I don't know. I mean, you're getting Goff, CMC, and Nico Collins for Caleb Williams in that scenario. So, I mean, I have no reason to tell you not to accept that trade.
Yeah, I don't see why not. You're going to get more capital there. He clearly has so much capital. Why not just see what you can get?
Yeah.
And I think one thing that we probably haven't spoken about is we like Jared Goff and like the fantasy points and everything that he's done. He may be an older quarterback, but it's just a safe floor with Jared Goff, and what his production is, and the team around him as well is pretty significant. So
yeah, I've said this many times, and it's gotten me in hot water. I don't think there's that big of a difference between Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes right now. I'll say clearly there is a difference in like longevity, but as far as what they're going to give your roster for the next 3 years, that's where I'm really pointing to. I don't know that there's really that big of a difference the way the Dynasty community puts it. But obviously I don't want to go too crazy. But yeah, I mean, and outside of those moves, that's really it. I mean, we're not going to move off Higgins as a contender, a Smith as a contender, a Connor, you know, and then it's funny because your quarterback room still has Josh Allen, Michael Penix, and Jared Goff in it, which is ridiculously good. So yeah, that's the type of move that you look back in 3 years on, and that guy who has Caleb's going to be good, but the entire league is probably annoyed at him for making that move. So Yeah, I like it a lot. Like the team.
Hey Perry, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support. You should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy message system, customized with everything that we drew up here for you today. But thank you so much for your support, man. Good team. Once again, don't go too crazy. But love.
Yeah, appreciate
love,
you
love.
big time, my friend. Hey, guys, we are dedicating this entire stream to helping you build some better Dynasty teams. If you want to get on the stream, get your team playbook, which is a customized game plan for your offseason. You can get a live review from us, and then the playbook is sent afterwards to execute your offseason. You can get that by using the promo code LAND, becoming an annual Mother Flocker member on the Flock site. That will give you a voucher for a team review that you can get from Zach and Badaki. Just make sure you move that slider up if you want it shown on the stream. There are two types of team reviews. The baseline model is an offline one where I write up an article personally myself for you, and then we send the playbook basically with the chalkboard. And the second one where you slide that up to live is where we show it on the live stream, and then you still get the playbook. Now, let us know if you have any questions. That link is in the chat. Let's go to Sean Ellis here. I saw Sean in the chat earlier, so let us know if you are still here.
Yeah, appreciate you, Sean. Let us know if you are here.
Long-time supporter, Sean. He's gotten a lot of playbooks. I love to see people who come back and they see value in the product. That's great.
He is here. He says, yes, sir. Please jump in at any point in time, man. Any point in time. And this is a 2-quarterback, 16-team start 9 with a full point premium.
Sheesh.
16 teams. So that's
crazy.
That's just another meat and potatoes lineup. Obviously,
yeah,
might be a little bit more scarce with a 16-man league. But he says, hey, boys, this is actually a 16-team Superflex league. I have some decent players in picks. Just a little loss as to who/what to move and what to shop for. It feels like I need to punt for another year or two. Love the content and appreciate the feedback, boys. Bring home the Flock Fantasy League title for us. Hey, we're gonna try here for sure. Kung Fu Panda is your team name. You're currently ranked 9 out of 16. So let's have a look at this team here. Trevor Lawrence, Jackson Dart, Tua tags. Okay, so you got quarterbacks, which is okay. At the running back position, and I'm assuming you have done your draft already in 2025. Trey Benson, Tank Bigsby with Dylan Sampson. So no RBs to speak of, essentially. At the wide receiver position, you can start up to 4 wide receivers, and that is T, Travis, Jordan, Reed, McMillan there. So your starting 4 is from T to Reed with Dawson Knox. So I would definitely say this is probably another 1-year punt. You have 1-2 picks in 2026.
It's interesting, right? Because like a 16-team league, so everybody's team should be significantly worse than what we see in the 12-team leagues. But still, even with that in mind, I struggle to see this being a contender. So I think I'm going to lean right there with you as a 1-year punt. He has multiple firsts in 2026, a lot of picks in 26, has his own in 27. I think I'm right there with you as far as going towards a 1-year punt. I don't think there's an untouchable here.
No, it's 26 first and 27 first. We're going to say as untouchables for your team. Holds, probably names like Trey Benson,
Dart.
Jackson Dart.
You can drop a lot of names here, though. I mean, you definitely don't need a roster like a Turpin, Zacchaeus, Renfro, Jackson, Perry, Osborne. I mean, I could go further, but those are all easily droppable names on the waiver wire. This is why you probably haven't dropped them, because there's not really much there. But even like the Deontay Thorntons, LeJontay Westers of the world, I would rather just roster them, than, because we haven't seen anything. The most likely outcome is that they're nothing, but at the same time, the guys you have are complete dead assets, right? So overall team grade. Yeah.
Oof.
That tight end room is tough. In a full point premium too. I would lean, don't want to be harsh here, but this feels very C-.
Okay. Okay. We can do C-. That's not harsh. I was going to go harsher. I was going to say like a D+.
Okay. You know what? Maybe I am being too nice. Just start 9 though. Like there's decent bones.
Yeah, and it's a 16-man league. I think like it's
Yeah,
difficult
exactly.
to kind of get so much. So like, yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind C plus, and I'll say like draft capital probably B plus.
Draft capital is pretty good. Yeah, let's give him an A minus there at draft capital.
Okay.
And yeah, so can we go to the chalkboard?
Yeah, let's do it. That's everything.
All right, so I am curious because for a team that looks like this, and don't take this the wrong way, Sean says, be harsh, I need the help. You're in the right place. For a team that looks like this, I expected more out of your draft. I mean, you landed Dart and Hunter. Those are really the guys that are going to impact you. And I thought
don't see
about
like a first round pick in this, like in a 16-man league.
Travis.
Sorry to interrupt.
Definitely Travis. What do you mean?
I guess what I mean like in a startup.
Oh, a startup draft. Okay, sorry.
Like if this was like a year or two ago, I guess Trevor Lawrence, excuse me.
Right. Okay.
Was probably your first round pick.
Quarterbacks were probably very difficult to come by in this sort of format.
Yeah. And
to be fair, like if you think about that, because it's a 16-team league, there's 32 teams in the NFL. There's going to be let's rank this by quarterbacks. There's going to be some teams that have no quarterbacks. So Porky's Revenge has Will Howard. That's it.
Porky's Revenge.
Porky's Revenge. This man has Geno Smith. We've got Jalen Milroe as the RB as the quarterback too there. So again, I'm just contextualizing that because I imagine quarterbacks went quite quickly off the board. So that light, you know, it could be worse with what you have at quarterback. But B plus feels generous. Like Travis Hunter and Jackson Dart, I really like. Clearly, Dart is very valuable in a league like this. Super flex, start. You know, he says he got Dart in the second. That is surprising. And in fact, I'd like to give you a B plus now, simply because Dart should not go. It's a 16-team league. Dart was at worst the 17th player off the board in this format. So if you think about it from that light, I think you did very good. How in the world does this guy fall all the way to the second round in a 16-team Superflex league where people have Will Howard as their own quarterbacks? So anyway, but I think the path is clear. You can sell Higgins if you want in a league like this. You can sell even a Tua. I don't mind selling. He should have a lot of value in this league. And that's really it. You know, there's not really another obvious sell. And you don't even need to sell Higgins. It's just with you're going to waste a year of his prime on your roster. So it's unlikely you get more value next year from him. So what I'd like to do is find a quarterback needy team, which shouldn't be hard. Again, Porky here has Will Howard. So can we, from Porky, can we get Jack Besh in a first for Tua? Because keep in mind that there's a chance that ends up being the 204. So with quarterbacks being literally impossible to get in a league like this man has Will Howard. He cannot be that demanding of you. You know what I mean? So yeah, like Jack Besh in a first makes sense. I don't even hate the idea of it is a full point premium. Would you do like a Loveland straight up?
Yeah, I would.
So Loveland straight up could make sense. And that might actually be the most logical conclusion here because he already has Brock Bowers. But of course, if you think you can sneak it to like Loveland and Jack Besh, that would be great. But I think Loveland is probably already pushing it. But given the need of quarterbacks in this league, I think you have to pay a higher price for a Tua.
I agree.
Geno Smith, Quinn Ewers team. Look, they don't have anything, but I don't think their team is good. So I would love their first. Let's just say their first and second.
Yeah.
Because again, this might be in reality the 204 at best. So keep that in mind. So, and this is from, what is that team name? That is Arrow. What's up, Matthew? We do have some spots, my friend. Definitely feel free to submit, brother. Cowboys. The
Oh, yeah,
Cowboys
no.
guy. I don't
Love.
know. Might be the same thing for Cowboys. The same structure as Arrow.
Yeah, I mean, unless you can get like the RJs, but I doubt it. He has RJ.
Jordan loves Sam Darnold. That guy's probably fine with it. Same thing for Slytherin, because I think his team, his picks could be valuable.
Yeah.
I think those are the main teams that are going to be the most desperate. Now that I look through the rest of them, for the most part, I think people are content given the structure of the league. So those are really the main guys. Now, we can also look for wide receiver need. For example, Cowboys needs receiver. Can you find a way into Harvey and a first?
Yep. Yeah, that's something I would like. That helps you get the running back room, and you can still have that first. But when you're punting, so and you're gonna have 3 firsts right there. And if you do sell tags, you just got multiple firsts there as well. So
Harvey might be tough because he's a very hype name right now. But even like a Burden, that 27 first.
yeah.
I don't know if that's enough for T in this format, but some idea like that. I don't know. Like potentially you could add on. You can't get those, running backs, but you could maybe ask for like a Mason Taylor. That actually might be perfect. Mason Taylor.
Yeah, is it full point?
It is full point premium.
It is full point? Okay, yeah, the Mason Taylor, yeah, sure.
Ricky Pearsall in a first makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Now, in an ideal world, you're trading that pick to a team that has a lot of capital, because these people don't want to lose starters. So the Kung Fu Panda guy, oh, that's you. The other team is Return of the King. Maybe you ask for the first that's not his. So those are really like the main ideas I would have for your team. I definitely see like the structure of where you're going. He says, I see Pickens is on the block in the league. Is he an option? Yeah, for sure. I think he is. Like Pickens and Egbuka is a no-brainer, but I don't know if you can extract that much. If you can't, can you do Pickens and Jaden Higgins? I don't know if that's enough though, actually. It'd have to be like Pickens in that first. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Pickens in the first.
Really quick, sorry. Flair, I see you on Discord. If you're here with us, you said you were watching us.
Oh, really?
You can definitely just comment in the chat at any point in time and to let us know that you are here. So just keep that in mind, because he put something in the. So watching YouTube live stream currently, potentially reading my team in a minute. How do I jump on to chat if I have questions? All you got to do is come to the live stream. So you said you were here with us. That's all you have to do.
Was he messaging you individually or something?
No, it was on the. It was in one of the Discord channels.
Oh, which one?
It was in one of the domain ones, actually.
Okay.
Domain lobby, and they tagged us.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and send him a link here. Let's see.
So, sorry, Sean. Just want to make sure people know where to get to us. But look, Sean, I think obviously this is a 1-year punt. I don't think it's necessarily something that like you have to go out and do crazy moves. Even then, let's just say you don't make any moves. You don't sell Tua, you want to keep Tua. You don't sell T because you want to keep him. You still have 2 firsts in 2026. You have 3 seconds in 2026. Now, at the moment, from what I've been hearing, what I've been reading, is that this 26 class might be really strong at quarterback. A lot of it depends on if a lot of people are going to be staying and going to, or staying at school or coming out to the NFL. And if that is the case, you could potentially getting 2 good solid quarterbacks here. And if not, with depth, right? With 2 picks or 3 second round picks, excuse me. So just keep that in mind. Okay, looks like Robert's here. It says Robert said, "Thanks, fellas. Never felt so old trying to figure this out."
You're okay,
hey,
Robert.
that's totally okay. That's
You're
totally
okay,
okay, man. But we appreciate you. Thank you so much for even being here.
Yeah, that was really like kind of the end of my thoughts on Sean's team anyway. So we'll let Sean ask us if he has any last minute questions. But as always, man, appreciate you big time for allowing us to review the squad. So yeah, let us know if there's anything that we might have missed. Appreciate you big time.
Love. Sean, of course, you should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy message system. And we appreciate your support, man. Customized with everything that we drew up here for you today. Love.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Matthew says he just got a purchase in, and we see it, so we'll get to yours for sure. I just want to break this up real fast with a trade question from M. Wade. It looks like they are sending away Jameson and Ricky Pearsall for Marvin Harrison. As much as I love Jameson, as much as I love Ricky, that's an easy smash accept. I don't even need to look at the roster. I don't care what the roster format is. It'd have to be like a start 12. It's only a start 10, and it's also a 10-team league, so you want some of those premium players a little bit more. I think this is a very easy yes to Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
All right, and we also do have some call-ins to the show today from our hotline. Again, if you guys don't know, when you become an annual Mother Flocker member with code LAND, you have something called the hotline, which is where you can kind of call into the show. We remind you guys every once in a while. So I wanted to just take a second and maybe hear from a couple people. Let's start with Lad, and then we might break it up and then go to Flair afterwards. So Lad is here.
What would you buy Saquon Barkley for in terms of receivers, knowing the amount of touches he had this year? Like, where do you value him near? Like, what tier of wide receivers? Thanks.
Yeah, it's a good question because people, we're all a little bit of a slut for a wide receiver in Dynasty, aren't we? Just the longevity. We fall in love with that idea. I think for Saquon, thinking about, wide receiver ranges, I think it's really this Garrett Wilson, Higgins, Rice, Marvin, Ladd, JSN, London range.
Okay. So you said those names at the end there, I feel really comfortable. Drake, JSN, Ladd, Marvin. I feel like there's a massive tier break when it comes down to, I think you can get Rashee Rice plus. I think you can get T plus potentially, just based off of like the age, the injury history, specifically for T. But that's kind of where I'm at.
Sorry, so I should clarify. Like, I think you can probably get a plus on top of Wilson, Higgins, Rice, and then I think it becomes more of a straight swap from the Marvs, the Ladd, the JSN, the Londons. I think in some leagues you might be able to even get like a Nico or an Amon-Ra, but I think that's going to be much more difficult to land those type of names. These guys are like consistently going early second round of a startup. London, JSN, Ladd are more like third round where you're typically seeing Saquon. So I think that's the kind of range that we're in. And again, it just comes down to we're all a little bit slutty for those wide receivers that we can build around, aren't we?
But appreciate you, Lad.
We'll get to Flair's call in here after this next one.
And
here.
Flair or Robert, can you tell us what your... Oh, it is Flair. Okay, he's down here. And he donated on YouTube. So we get to Flair's today as well then.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Okay, I was about to say I was confused on what was his name, but it's Flair.
And I assume Robert is super chatting to upgrade his playbook.
That's what I'm
today,
assuming.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming as well.
Just want to let you guys know, whenever you do donate, we would always just say, hey, maybe consider doing it on the Flock site. You can see there's a super message button on the Flock site. And Robert, you don't need to do this now. It's just for future, just to let everybody know so we're on the same page. The reason being, YouTube takes 30% of your donations there. So it's just always better for us. Honestly, that's really the reason we ask. Just full transparency. It's better for us. It's helping us a little bit more. But we'll definitely upgrade Flair to the live playbook today as well. I think Scooty is next on our list, though, for today. Just quickly, we have a super chat here. One quarterback, I have Rome. Pick the 203, Burden or Harris. It's Harris for me, but I think it comes down to your personal preference. I have a very clear bias towards Luther Burden. Obsessed with him as a player. But I think if you ask me who has a better chance to break out year one, I think Trey Harris is clearly in the better situation. So,
yeah, I'm totally okay with that. I think it just really depends on what your team's at currently. You know, if you're rebuilding, you take Harris. If you are,
well, I think they're both great rebuilding options.
Yeah, if you're rebuilding or if you're kind of trying to win now, somebody that can get onto the field, potentially produce. I think Trey has that pathway sooner rather than later. But once again, no pressure at all. By the way, I think both are good.
Eileen Burden, I just like him better as a prospect. All right, so Scooty, I think, is the next live playbook for today.
Scooty, man, appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. And
who was the one that upgraded yesterday that we took a mental note? Fear and Hunger.
I think so. I think it's in the. I don't know. I think I said to put it in the notes. I'm not sure if you did it or if I can always look back on the live stream. Neither
of us did, but I remember it was Fear and Hunger. Let's go to Scooty here.
Scooty, man, thank you so much. This is a 2-quarterback, 10-team start 10. And that is our classic middle ground here. He said, decided to go full in on my team this year, meaning I traded away most of my future picks. Don't know if it was a mistake or not yet. Would love any advice on if I should just stick with the team I have now or possibly down tiered and getting picks as well in those trades.
Just looking at the status of this league right now, I'm going to go ahead and say it was probably the right move. We haven't looked at your team at all.
We haven't looked at your team.
You have about 62,000 points.
This might be Thanos here.
My rankings,
because I haven't looked at the team. I haven't looked at the team yet, but I'm seeing ones all across the board here.
Let's keep in mind here that we have had 3 Thanoses out of 413 playbooks, which puts it at a 0.7% so far. A team has been a Thanos, but let's have a look at J-Love for MVP here.
Let's have a look at his team. Yeah, this is it, ladies and gentlemen.
I think
we need to have like a.
We might have. We need to have.
We need to have a clip of like Thanos like putting the last stone on and going, oh, you know, like
that's pretty badass.
The cut scene when that happens. I don't know how is that possible, but we need to figure that out.
Call JB up.
This is Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, a phenomenal quarterback room. Bijan Robinson, Ashton Genty, Travion Henderson with Bucky Irving. I mean, your RB4 is Bucky Irving, which is absolutely crazy. Your wide receivers, you can start up to 5 wide receivers. You have Chase, Amon-Ra, JSN, Travis, Rome, George Pickens, and you have Brock Bowers. I mean, I'm sorry. You had the 101. You probably have the 104. You had the 101, the 103 potentially, and the 104 with Travis Hunter. I see Travis Hunter, Travion Henderson there.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and make it official. This is our all-time so far, our 4th ever Thanos. Yes, this is officially a Thanos. So that makes now the Thanoses in all time have happened 0.97% of the time. If you round that up, 1% of all rosters are Thanoses, and you are one of them. So first things first, congratulations. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we made it. I mean, you have the quarterback 1, the quarterback 2, the RB 2 and 3, the wide receiver 1, the tight end 1. Now it's a 10-team league. It's slightly easier to build a team like this in a 10-team league, but still a very, very impressive feat. You're in the elite 1% that have ever submitted a team to the show. Your overall team grade is an A++. Your draft capital grade is a D, say C-, but it doesn't even matter. Okay. Does not matter. You could have no capital for the next 3 years, and it just would not make a difference for a roster like this. Your untouchables are endless. You've got Daniels, Jackson, Bijan, Genty, Chase, Bowers. All right. Your holds would include names like Adunze. Names like
Adunze, Isaac Garendo, maybe I see here.
I don't even know if we need to hold him. I would be like maybe Adunze, we say Higgins. Your drops, you don't need to drop anyone because your waiver wire is not great. But I would definitely pick up Jarquez Hunter. So Jarquez Hunter, Jordan James, definitely names that I think should be rostered. DJ Giddens. I know it's a 10-team league, but I would prefer those guys over like the Arian Smiths, the Dontavion Wicks, even the Torrey Hortons. So this is very impressive. I'll be honest with you. Not as much to discuss with a league with a roster like this.
Like literally, you have QB1, QB2, RB basically 1 and 2. Wide receiver. I mean, if you really want to nitpick here, sell him Bonross, St. Brown, and throw George Pickens in there and see if we can get JJ. Something. Yeah. I don't know. Like that's how we're nitpicking right now. You know what I'm saying?
Overly impressive, the roster that you've built. Trying to look specifically at your 2025 class intake, and pretty impressive as well. Obviously going and landing a Genty Henderson combo, then coming back at wide receiver, getting Travis Hunter, Jaden Higgins, Jack Besh. You've got some other dart throws on the roster, but that core alone is a very impressive core. I don't know how we give you anything other than an A+ for your team, but also for your draft. I can't think of a better outcome than getting the 101, the 104, the 103, and then a bunch of guys that we really like that could develop into something. Post waiver, like we said, Jarquez Hunter, definitely a name worth picking up. Jordan James. We also talked about TJ Giddens. There's quite a few on there, but that's the nature of a 10-team league, I guess. Now, again, if we want to nitpick, then we can say, geez, you don't need to. There's no reason to address quarterback.
Maybe sell
There's no reason to address running back. Maybe the only thing we can do is ask, yeah, but Doc, you kind of nailed it. Like, do we try and go get Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra, and George Pickens, for example, right?
Something.
Yeah, I mean, you're making a great point. Like, how much better can we really make this roster? I probably would look at this roster and say, I'm good. I'll hold. But,
I'm okay.
Can you go get a Malik Neighbors? Can you go get a CeeDee Lamb? Even at that point, I don't even know if you really need to do something like that. Who has Jefferson? Can we go get a Justin Jefferson? I mean, we've already got Jamar Chase, right? Yeah. So, can we go get a Justin Jefferson for this type of package? What more would you need to pay on top? I just don't really know exactly where you quote unquote upgrade. I mean, we don't really want to grab Brian Thomas because we already have Travis Hunter. Not that I still prefer Brian Thomas heavily, but there's no reason to go from like from Amon-Ra to Brian in that scenario. Do we try and turn Adunze and Pickens in a first into Puka Nacua? You know what I mean? Yes, he's probably going to break out, Rome Odunze, but we can afford to go just get the guaranteed guy in Puka Nacua, for example. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, this is where, once again, these are the nitpicks here. You don't have to do anything, but let's go out and get, like, you already have 2 top 5 wide receivers or top 8 wide receivers in some people's. Can we go out and get the top 3? Can we go out and get all 3 of those guys? Because I think that would be huge.
He was asking about moving Hunter in a first for London, I think. He says, where did he say that? Is he in the chat with us, maybe? Was he asking for that? Where did he say that?
Look at Cade. I have no idea. Can you change your profile picture, Cade? You're confusing me.
Oh, wait, Sean, you are here. Sean, I'm so sorry. We kind of lost you. He says, I had the opportunity to sell Hunter in a 28 first for Drake London. Look, like, full transparency, I like the idea, but...
Right, okay.
Like, in Keep Trade Cut right now, The difference between Hunter and London is like a round in a startup. It's not actually that significant anyway. So, like if you put this into keep trade cut, I don't think they have 2028. So let's just say 2027. Let's just say a mid first. I don't think there's that big of a difference. We're talking wide receiver 8 between wide receiver 14. Clearly, we all prefer Drake London. But what else does that guy have with the London team? Let's see.
Yeah,
Drake
look,
London.
I don't think.
No, I'd rather go get Puka Nacua. So
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think you need to get. Not that London is not guaranteed, but like we want. I don't think London we will put in the category as a heavy hitter. We want a heavy hitter.
He's right outside and looking in.
Yeah.
So let's send Travis Hunter and your 26 first instead, and go get Puka Nacua maybe.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of move that we would make. I mean, do you have to add? Maybe not George Pickens in that move, but can you add a Jaden Higgins or no? Can you add a Keon Coleman, for example?
Yeah.
If you have to, like if the first and Hunter don't work, I think that's really the counter there. But
I agree,
Sean. I would say you should be very, very proud of the team that you put together. Congratulations, dude. You clearly know what you're doing. It's an honor even to look at the team. So huge congratulations. You've built one hell of a monster. And the thing is, it's mostly a young monster. So it'll be haunting your league for a long, long, long time. In fact, I think the rest of your league is probably donating for your championship for the next 4 or 5 years. So congratulations to you, man. But I do want to leave time to see if you have any questions for us. I want to make sure you feel great about the review and that you got, the best bang for your buck.
Yeah, man, appreciate you. And as we're waiting for that last minute, any last minute questions here, you should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy Message System, customized with everything that we drew up here today. And for the guys that do have a Thanos team, it's a nice little, it's a little bit customized to that Thanos theme. So
love it.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Appreciate you, though.
We appreciate you big time, man. Again, like honor to look at a team like that. I feel like I'm in the presence of greatness here. So you should feel very proud of the team that you put together. As we're waiting on Scooty to see if there's any more questions there. Josh is currently offline. I sent him a message if he wanted to go and make it online.
I think it's Flair's next.
Well, I just wanted to quickly. I'm just gonna reply to McConkey Kong because we replied yesterday. Like we thought he might have been on the stream yesterday, and then I sent him a message in the My Reviews tab to this super message. I just said, "Hey, did you change your?" So basically, he said upgrade. We're not sure what he's trying to upgrade, because we don't have any. His name does look familiar, but we don't have a team review submitted from McConkey Kong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and complete this, but I'm going to give him a free trade question voucher. So if you want to come back, if there was like a trade that you had a question about, either way, you can message me on Discord as well. My username is Zach Savage, ZAXAVAGE, because I don't really know what it's in reference to.
AKE if you like.
Because we don't know what this upgrade is in reference to, and we want to help, but we don't know what you mean by that. And he also commented, I have the 111, 1-1, the 102, 106, 110, 111, 112, 204. Would it be wrong to draft 4 running backs? I don't think so, honestly, at all. If they are the best available players, I think it would be silly to not draft the running back because, you want to force a different player in there. So if the 101 is Genty, the 106 or the 102 is Hampton, those would be my BPAs. That's fine. If at the 106 you're between Judkins and Henderson, well, we're not going to force like an Igbuka there. If the 110 Igbuka is available, great. At the 111 Caleb, you can look at moving these picks before the draft. If you don't want to draft so many running backs, maybe you can trade the 102 for a Drake London, right? You can trade, that 106, go out and get a Garrett Wilson, for example, or, that kind of range. So you can do a little bit of both. You don't have to keep all the picks, but you can also go ahead and trade let's say you do draft Travion Henderson, and then you trade him for a different position that you need the year after. So I don't think it would be wrong to draft 4 running backs. No,
I don't think so as well. But once again, McConkey, please let us know if you see this. We're waiting for you.
He says, I appreciate Sean, by the way, says, I appreciate it. Great advice. Past month, I've been selling all my picks and upgrading at different positions. So glad it was worth the risk. My friend, I can confidently tell you it was definitely worth the risk. You are a Thanos. You are the less than 1% of teams. Ric Flair. Let's do it.
Let us know if I know you were here with us earlier. Let me just double check to see what was your name, because you were here earlier and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support.
Well, remember he did the super chat, right?
He did. It was Robert
Flermern.
Yeah, Robert, please. Once again, I know you said you're not the best with technology, but all you have to do is just type in the chat. You don't have to pay anything. All you have to do is type in the chat here on YouTube. He says, I'm here. Okay, awesome. Okay, that's great. I just wanted to make sure you were here with us because I know that you went above and beyond trying to get here with us. This is a 2-quarterback, 12-team start 10. And by the way, please jump in at any point in time. We appreciate you and your support. This is a middle grounds. 2-quarterback, 12-team start 10 with the full point premium here. And the context is just did a startup draft. I originally had pick 4. Someone wanted out of the 12th, which is non-third round reversal, and we swapped spots, and he gave me a 9th. Also traded a couple picks during the draft from second rounders, I'm assuming. I love JJ McCarthy and feel like T-Law could crush. I really wanted Loveland, but ended up sniped. Okay.
I'll just say, if I was in a draft and I had the 4th overall pick and someone wanted to swap to the 12th, I probably would have needed more than a 9th, personally.
Out of curiosity, who was your 9th overall? Or
if you think about that,
9th round pick as well.
That's either Jamar Chase, that's either Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson.
It's a top quarterback for sure.
And then you're going to like a Bijan, for example, right? Which isn't like, it's not a huge downgrade. It's just I probably would have wanted more than a 9th, but I'm kind of in sync with you. I love McCarthy. You might have seen that love from me in the past on this channel, but it's very clear. I mean, like we just saw from Scooty's team, it was very, very clear there was a dominant team in that league, right? But from your league, it's so obvious this league just finished a startup because there's 17,000 points to the lowest team and 23,000 to the highest team. It's there's a lot of, what's the right word? It's even across the board, right? So you're currently ranked 4th, but every team is pretty even here. So let's have a look.
Yeah, let's have a look here. Once again, currently ranked 4th out of 12 here. And
appreciate you, Oliver. We're glad to have you a part of the family, man. Appreciate you big time. Thanks for that donation.
Love. All right, at the quarterback position, Trevor Lawrence, JJ McCarthy, and Jackson Dart. A decent quarterback room for sure. At the running back position, Jahmyr Gibbs, Trey Benton, Jaden Blue. So not a strong RB2. You can start up to 5 wide receivers. In this league, we like to prioritize wide receivers in the flex position. So when we say that, you can start up to 2 wide receivers or 3 flex. And we like to put wide receivers there. Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, Trey Harris, Hollywood Brown, and Adonai Mitchell. So not the strongest wide receiver room either, with Tyler Warren and Tucker Kraft. So obviously you just did your startup here. It looks like you went Jahmyr Gibbs, Malik Neighbors 1-2. Probably came back in the 4th or in the 3rd. I would imagine maybe got double tapped at those quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence, JJ McCarthy, I would imagine.
And we just found out that Tucker Kraft was his 9th round pick. So basically he went from one of those top names we mentioned, a Jamar Chase, a Lamar Jackson, and he went from those names to a Gibbs and a Kraft. I know it's a full point premium, but I probably still would have preferred one of those top names instead. But
yeah, unless you didn't double tap quarterback and you got Rome Odunze somehow, unless he fell to the 5th round, which I doubt. So I think maybe one of those quarterbacks potentially fell to the 5th round and you got Rome Odunze. So once again, Malik Neighbors 1-2.
Sorry, I might be misunderstanding. Did you guys swap entire draft positions and he gave you a 9th? Because that would make a lot more sense to me.
That's what I read. That's how I understood it.
I'm a dumbass then because I thought he swapped the 104 and the 112 for a ninth round pick.
For a 9th round pick. No, he got
okay.
he
that
went
makes
to
more
the,
sense. My
he
bad.
went to
I'm an
the
idiot.
12.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
I
would do that. I would do that as well. That makes sense. Anyway,
going into some admin here, Robert, some untouchables, which you will definitely see on your graphic that you're going to be getting here, is Jameer Gibbs, Malik Neighbors are 2 guys that are just untouchables. We want to keep on our team here. We don't want to move them for anything. Holds will probably be Roma Dunze for us, Trey Benson with that future, JJ McCarthy, and I would also say Jackson Dart. And I think you can also put these tight ends in as a hold as well. Because of that full point premium. But let's keep Jackson Dart because first round quarterback is something that you always want to have, gaining interest, as they say. And drops, there's a bunch of drops you can have. Javon Baker, Gabe Davis, you can drop here. And I mean, you can drop Malachi Corley if you want. Jalen Polk here, looking at your waiver wires.
Not much interesting. I mean, Deonta Thornton is there.
Yeah, I mean,
Tej Johnson, maybe those 2 names you could pick up. I'd probably prefer those guys over the Gabes, the Bakers. They're kind of splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah, so Roman is 5th. He said reach for quarterbacks in 3rd and 4th. Okay, so Malik 1 and 2, Trevor and JJ 4 or 5, or 3 4, and then you got Roman the 5th.
Don't say in the 5th, yeah.
Yeah, which is, I think Roman the 5th is pretty good value, I would say.
Well, the overall team, if you think about it, it's probably Trevor, JJ, Gibbs. Then you're hoping Benson becomes RB2 for you. Neighbors, Adunze, Tyler Warren. You would need to flex 3 more names, which would probably be Kraft, Harris, and then I'm not sure where the other flex comes from. But it's a really well-rounded team. But it's also very clearly straight off of a startup because there's not much depth on really any of your rosters at this point. Everyone's kind of taking shots on what could be potential depth, like Jaden Blue, the Arroyos, like Hollywood Brown being your wide receiver 4 is a good indication that it's straight off a startup. So it's interesting. I like the team. I think outside of your top 2 names, you're waiting on a lot to happen. And it very well could, but I kind of lean more of like a sleeper than a true contender this year. Because let's call a spade a spade. Gibbs and Neighbors are your only guarantee on this team.
Yeah.
Right? We expect Trevor, McCarthy, Benson, Adunze, Warren. We expect Trey Harris. All these names, we expect them to take a leap this year. Or for the rookies to show something, right? You can even throw Dart in that. But it's certainly no guarantee that they're contributing to winning dynasty rosters in 2025, right? So that does make me lean a little bit more towards a 1-year punt or a sleeper. Like, would you be opposed to trading a Gibbs off this team? You're muted right now, but
okay, sorry. Look, for me, ideally, I wouldn't want to, but at the same time, there's still a lot of holes here on this team. So, I mean, he does have an extra second. He has 2 extra seconds there, and then first. I mean, let's just say hypothetically.
But, in relation to the Jameer Gibbs idea, though, are you open to tearing down from him, or where's your head at with this team then?
Trading down from Jameer Gibbs is not something that I want to do, but I kind of understand that we have to do it. Like, let's just say we go into next year and you're not a contender, and let's just say, yeah, I get that, Robin. I would like to keep him too, but trying to then build off of this and trying to get you to a contender is a little bit difficult. So, like,
the difficult part is when you come straight off a startup, no one really has a bunch of additional future first-round picks, right? So everyone's kind of in the middle there, and then it's more difficult when you build your team more towards the future as well, because what might end up happening is, okay, what if McCarthy doesn't work? What if Dart doesn't work? What if Adunze doesn't break out and Trey Harris is a nothing burger, and you're looking at your roster next year and you're saying, okay, I really only have Gibbs and Neighbors. The difficult part is with Jameer Gibbs being right now in his prime, RB1 for a lot of people, including myself, What if you could turn him into a Henderson in a couple firsts? Or what if you could turn him into a Judkins in a couple firsts? An Achane in a couple firsts? Then you're still having a really nice young player that you can build around, but you're giving yourself more leeway in the future to build a more complete and cohesive team. So I think, look, full transparency, if we don't move Gibbs, I don't know what else we do with this roster this offseason right now. Like maybe we could sell Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, that's where I was going to
premium?
go. In a full tight end premium, can we get a low end running back? Let's just say we get Chuba Hubbard here, or let's say we get a Josh Jacobs somehow. So we have Josh Jacobs, Jahmyr Gibbs, but that still leaves you short at the wide receiver position, because then you're leaning on. Keep in mind, we like to prioritize wide receiver. You have Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze as your starting wide receiver, but then who do you have at flex? Trey Harris, Adonai Mitchell, Hollywood Brown. We can't really lean on these guys. So I feel like what Zach is saying, like you have to kind of go and sell your highest valuable asset to then get.
You have to have some margin to kind of give yourself flexibility to build out the team, I guess. So What we'll do is Robert doesn't want to sell him. I will just show ideas. And if it entices Robert, he can think about it. But outside of that and maybe trading Kraft, I don't have a lot of ideas. Because if we are just going to rock with this roster into the season, we're not going to sell Odunze. He's more of a hold. Same with Trey. Same with Tyler. Same with Arroyo. Same with Benson. Same with the entirety of your quarterback room. So where does that leave us? Maybe getting a third for Hollywood Brown. So we will look at all of the options. But look, I might still.
And please, Robert, jump in.
My preference is a punt, but we will look at like the sleeper pathway for now.
Look, I would also say really quick before you get into it, he does have 2 seconds. Like, let's just say you can get a 20. Hypothetically, you get a second, you get
3 seconds.
Yeah, 3. But you want to maybe he keeps a second, or we can use all 3 of his seconds. Let's just say you go out and get a Devontae Adams and then a Cortland Sutton, and then you go out with a second and get a James Conner.
Sure,
that's a pathway there as well. But once again, like you're leaving your draft capital. You're giving up your draft capital here, just trying to compete. So Robert says, "I'm cool playing the long game here." Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
So I'm gonna offer you 2 ideas then. So we're going to call this in or out officially. So when we say you're in, it means let's try and compete this year. And then when we say out, we mean probably tearing down from Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, it's basically making that decision in season, Robert, right? Yeah. So if your team somehow starts to compete and Trey Benson is the RB1, because James Conner went down week 1, and he just won the job for the rest of the season. I was like, oh, okay, I'm still in. I'm in this. But as you're doing that, I'm just gonna run to the restroom. But by the way, draft capital, I would just say just a B+. Since you have all your capital, you have an extra couple seconds, and then I don't think we did overall team grade. I would say
overall team grade, I mean straight B.
Yeah.
Kind of coming off you had a good draft, honestly. Straight B.
Yeah. I think so as well. Okay, all right, I'll be back then.
So if we are in, then we'll probably try and use your 26 seconds to build out a roster, maybe even your first. But, you want to go out there and target an RB2 and some depth at wide receiver if we go this route, right? So if you go this route, let me look at my rankings. We're looking to send that second away. Let's be realistic. I don't know that you can get a Chuba Hubbard, but some people are so low on him. I think Kamara, Mixon, Monty Connor. Right? That is kind of where you're looking. James Conner's probably the most realistic. And then, at least if you send a second for Connor, you have Trey Benson already. Right? Now, that is probably... I just wouldn't really... I don't want to buy a Swift or a Brian Robinson in your scenario, or an Aaron Jones. So maybe those guys ask for a second and a third, you know. Now, the wide receivers are much more open, though, for that second round. Like Jerry Jeudy, George Pickens. Maybe you have to send like a third on top of that with some of these names. The further we go down, the more realistic it probably is. So Jeudy, Pickens, Shakir, Adams, Godwin, you know. Adams and Godwin probably being the most realistic buys that you could make. So, I mean, look, in a hypothetical world, and then we could also go sell Tucker Kraft if we wanted to, right? So who needs a tight end on your team? I'm sure there's someone who needs a tight end in your league after a startup. So this guy is Jake Ferguson. Can you do a Higgins? You know, there's an idea. Can we go get Jaden Higgins? I'm not sure, but I wonder if you could go Higgins, Debo. It's a full point premium, so I think that is possible. I mean, do you have to send like a third to do that? I don't know. So that's an idea there. And then let's see who else needs a tight end. This guy's got Terrence Ferguson. He's got Kelsey though. Mason Taylor. He's probably happy. Kyle Pitts team. You know, you could do a straight up for Devontae Adams and then ask for like a second in the future and you send a third, something like that. I don't think you can get like Rice on your team necessarily. Everyone else is going to have enough of a kind of patch there at tight end, so you lose a little bit of leverage with those other teams. Now that is the idea of you going in, right? You're saying, actually, I want to keep Gibbs and I want to try and contend. So hypothetically, let's say you land Montgomery and then, you know, Higgins, Debo, and then Adams. In a hypothetical world, we've lost 2 second-round picks in Tucker Kraft, but we've added Monty, Adams, Higgins, Debo. That would definitely field a more complete roster, because then you're starting Trevor, JJ, Gibbs, Monty, Neighbors, Adunze, Warren, and then you need to start 3 more names between Benson, Harris, Hollywood Brown, Higgins, Adams, Samuel, right? So you can definitely field a team should those outcomes be possible for you. Okay. Now the out route here, which is where, you know, you're in season, you're saying maybe I should capitalize on a Jahmyr Gibbs right now. Well, let's have a look. So really the names you'd want to tier down to from a Jahmyr Gibbs would be an Achane, Henderson, Judkins, Irving. You know, those are the names. So let's start with Henderson. So, for example, you grab Henderson and 2 future first. I don't know why I put one, my bad. But how far can you stretch it? It's going to be, these are the type of deals that I will admit are harder to do straight off of a startup. But maybe instead of Henderson, instead of that first, you know, can you get Henderson and T-Mac? You know, in that scenario, we can maybe send them... Oof. Trying to find a way to even that up. We can send them like Jaden Blue, hypothetically. Arroyo.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, something to kind of get there. Now, with the Devon Achane owner, we can see what they have for us. The Achane owner. This one's tough because he's already lost his first. So Achane's probably not realistic. Let's go to Judkins, the Judkins owner. So we asked for Judkins Hunter makes sense. Maybe Judkins Besh in a first.
Okay.
Or yep. Judkins and 2 future firsts, you know.
Yep.
Those type of deals. Same thing for Bucky Irving. You know, are these type of deals possible? Or we don't even have to get a wide receiver or a running back in return. We can go wide receiver. So can we get like a London, JSN, Ladd, Marvin, Rice, you know, maybe not Rice there if you're rebuilding. Well, yeah, you could do that if you're rebuilding. But McConkey in a first, you know. Drake London in a first. You're giving yourself a little more leeway as you're building, and you're building around that wide receiver room. We said JSN and a first. Maybe you can net more for some of these players. Like, can you get, 2 firsts for JSN? I don't know. The further you go down, can you get Marvin Harrison Jr. and a first and a second? How far can you push it, Yeah. So that's the route that gives you these additional assets that you can build around long term. But you have 2 pathways here, and ultimately the choice is yours. Yeah. And we want to make sure that, we answer all your questions. So I want to see if there's anything that we didn't answer that you did have a question to.
Yeah, please let us know if you have any last minute questions, Robert. But you should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy message system, customized with everything that we drew up here for you today. But appreciate you, man. I mean, once again, probably like Zach said, it was either in or out. Just you can go out and try and compete. Okay, awesome. Go out and try and compete, or just retool for the future there if you wanted to. But appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your
We had a question here from Black Viper saying, would you trade Marvin and Tyreek for Brian Thomas Jr.? A trade with that type of magnitude, as crazy as it sounds, I don't think Tyreek really plays a big role in it for me. So I think I would be fine to do that personally. But
yeah, I would do that. I would be okay with that. I like Brian Thomas. I think there's a big gap and big tier with BTJ and Martin Harrison, and getting Tyreek, I guess, is a bonus. It puts you, giving you some more players to compete with, I guess.
Well, you're not getting Tyreek. You're sending Tyreek away.
Oh, Martin Harrison and Tyreek for Brian Thomas. Okay, yeah. Still, either way, I'm still okay with that.
I think there's a good chance that Marvin is valued the same way that Brian Thomas is next year. But what you're doing when you make a trade like that is you're just guaranteeing you've already gotten the first round wide receiver that is broken out and had the historic year, So is it worth, in your mind, paying Tyreek? I guess it depends if you're a contender. It depends how big your starting lineups are, right? Are you going to start 11? Maybe you hold Marvin and Tyreek. Are you going to start 8? Then does it make some sense to just go get the guaranteed guy who's already breaking out and had the historic rookie year? So it comes down to really, I think, team construction there. But I am I just don't think Tyreek really is going to stop me from paying up, personally. So yeah, if you're a contender, maybe you hold, but I don't mind paying up to get that guarantee. We have a trade question from Moritz here. He says he'd be sending away the 107, a second, and Caleb to get back Jalen Hurts and TJ Hawkinson. So this is basically Caleb Williams and Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Williams and Cam Ward, Caleb Williams and Henderson, T-Mac, one of those names, Hunter. There's no tight end premium. What do you think?
I think it just depends on the team, but I mean, looking at face value without looking at the team, I'm okay with that trade. I'm okay receiving that. Just pulling up more team here.
Looking at his team, he has Burrow, Caleb, Herbert. He has the 104, 105, 106, 107, and he already has Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I'm okay with this, and you have 104, 105, so you can potentially still get Trey Harris, Quinshon Judkins there.
I think you meant Henderson there.
Henderson, excuse me. Henderson, Quinshon Judkins there, so I'm okay with that trade. Sending away Caleb, I think it's a big tier up from Hurts. You get a tight end that is desperately needed for your team. Even though you do have Evan Ingram and Brenton Strange,
I think it's pretty fair.
I don't think you necessarily have to.
I was gonna say I don't see like a need to make a move like this.
Yeah.
The way that you're building your team right now, I don't know. I guess you do have Saquon, but outside of Saquon, yeah, I don't see like a desperate need. I guess I just have a lot of confidence in Caleb with Ben Johnson. Like I do think Caleb. I feel better about Caleb breaking out than Marvin, for example, in year 2, but I think they'll both break out. But is it worth? I mean, you still get Hawkinson. I think it's about as fair of a deal as there is. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
I really think it's about as fair as it can be.
And you're giving up the 107, and you have 104, 105.
He said it would be Cam at the 107. You know,
I don't see why not. I feel like I don't see why not
it's
do
about
it.
as even as it gets. But is
you're
there
gonna
really
tear
no
up
teams that need quarterback in your league? Like, you really can't turn that 107 and send it to this team 11 for, you know, something interesting. I don't know. It's about as even as it gets. I'm fine with this deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
fine
appreciate
if
you,
want to valid, you know, feel like the upgrade is valid. All right, Fear and Hunger is next.
Oh yes, Fear and Hunger.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was making one.
And if you guys are not aware, we are pretty much dedicating this entire stream, whatever we have left of it, to team playbooks. You can get your team playbook by using the promo code LAND, LAND, on the Flock site, and then becoming an annual Mother Flocker member. You'll get a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. Choose Zakabadaki, and then it's crucial. You got to make sure you move that slider up to live, okay? When you're an annual member, you get the baseline team playbook for free. And then if you want to upgrade to live to have it shown on the stream, then it's just a $7 upgrade. And there are points of the offseason where we don't really require that, but obviously right now with the demand being the way it is, we do require that upgrade. Fear and Hunger upgraded yesterday, I believe, or the day before. So he says that's me. So we're here with him. Let's have a look at the team.
Let's have a look at it, man. Hey, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support. All right, this is a 2 quarterback, 12 team start 9, which is our, I'm pretty sure, classic meat and potatoes. And I'll put that in the chat here for you guys. For you guys to see here. Fear and Hunger is your team name. You're currently ranked 6 out of 12. He says, I also have 2 first and 27 drafts. So 9 first round totals in the next 3 Dynasty rookie drafts, which is, wow. Yeah. Okay. Once again, currently ranked 6th. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Milton. Decent quarterback room. We would like to prioritize a 3rd quarterback here. Trey Benson, Tony Pollard, Aldrich Estime there. So you have your 103, 111. You could be getting some quarterbacks or running backs here. Wide receivers, really no one to speak of outside of DK Metcalf, and you have Brock Bowers here. So
Such
you definitely
interesting team. The way you know, like the Burrow and Bowers is great, and then the rest is just, you know,
it just it went
tough.
to nothing. But I mean,
I don't know that you can really field a starting lineup right now, right? Like Burrow, Lawrence, then Benson, Pollard, DK, Adonai, Bowers, and then you have to flex 2 more names between like Rome and Parker. Obviously, like the draft capital is there, but you'll add like maybe a Hunter or a Henderson. But we can't really promise that the 111 and the 112 are really going to help us compete this year. Like that's like a Buka range. Maybe Caleb. I think I would definitely lean 1-year punt with this team.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Pretty confidently, I would say 1-year punt. You might even sell me on a Burrow tier down here. As much as I don't want to do that, I probably would be sold on exploring the idea. He has 4 firsts next year, and he also mentioned that he has 2 firsts and 27. He says, my plan was to use future mids to move around in the draft and maybe get middle tier players if I'm doing good. Keeping the future first for now is my plan. Yeah. I lean towards a 1 year punt, like a straight commit to a 1 year punt. Like I guess hypothetically we could maybe trade the 203 for a receiver, but I just think it's going to get real messy to try and force a contend with this roster looking the way it is right now.
Yeah. I personally, I know you, to go back to the Joe Burrow stuff, I would be okay to just hold Joe Burrow and then have him be like one of my pillars with Brock Bowers there.
Sure.
But I guess going into some admin stuff here, untouchables would probably most likely be Joe Burrow, Brock Bowers. Hold, I would just say your future first, honestly. 26, 27, I guess you can throw Trey Benson in there as well, if you really wanted to. I don't see anyone else worth holding on this team. And then a bunch of drops: Noah Brown, Jermaine Burton, Tyler Bidet, Emmanuel Wilson. You can drop Darius Slayton, Chris Rodriguez. I mean, there's so many names that you can drop here on this team. That's kind of the route that I would personally be going. Draft capital, I would say A+. I mean, you have multiple firsts this year, multiple firsts in 26 and 27. An overall team grade with the 1 year punt, maybe B-, C+. I'm going.
I think strong C, because there's no guarantee these picks hit.
Yep.
I would say C+. Yeah.
Okay.
He says via a message, the first overall said they take the 103 and the 112 for the 101. Yeah, that just doesn't make sense for this team though. You know, like it's not a bad, honestly, like the price is not bad to go get Genty for the 103 and the 112. But your team just adding Ashton Genty to this team is going to be good, but you're still not going to be anywhere near a contender when you do that.
Yeah, I agree.
You're still going to have to look at like an Adonai or a Roman Wilson in the flex.
I think in this situation that you have here is probably something that we would most likely offer. I think Zach is probably getting to that, tearing back every time you possibly can to get more value. 103, you can add Travis Hunter, but like, can you get the 106 and the 106 in the early second, the 201 hypothetically, if that 106 has it, right? And then you have still some good future value there for some of those players or for your team.
The only way I would do that trade for the 101 is if I knew I could trade it for more later. And I don't know how you do that. Like you can't then go to a different team and say, hey, hypothetically, if I had the 101, would you give me X, Y, and Z? Why they'll just take that information and just go buy the pick from the guy who has it right now. So you can't really negotiate that way. So yeah, can we go to the chalkboard? Is there anything else we have to talk about?
No, that's it. That's everything.
So looking at your draft plan, if you stick and pick, I think any of Warren, McMillan, Henderson, Judkins, Ward are great. Like a team like this with so many holes, we don't need to be picky about what position we get, which is why I'm going to suggest a tier down ultimately. At the 111, the 112, Egbuka is a great fit for a team like this, honestly, where I want to, I want to look at potentially rebuilding towards another year. There is no tight end premium, and you already have Bowers, so we don't really need to look at a tight end there. So I don't even mind like a Dart, a Johnson, Harvey at that pick. At the 203, maybe Dart falls there, but most likely it's going to be one of Burden, Higgins, Besh, Harris. I don't know. Our drafts have been getting weird lately, and Burden is falling, Harris is going higher, and Higgins isn't available sometimes. So it could get a little weird. But he says Henderson and Egbuka are his targets. So look,
so Henderson at the 103 and then Egbuka at the 111. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Okay.
If I were you personally, and again, we can only give our thoughts, right? It's your team, so you got to do what's best for your team. But my number one goal with this team would be to tier down from the 103 and then tier down from Burrow. Now I know you don't want to do that with Joe Burrow, so I'll maybe look at that later. But I think even if you're going to compete or if you're not, I think a tear down is going to be very beneficial for you long term. So I would rather do that than tier up to the 101, unless I knew that the 101 could net me a bigger return. But like we said, that's impossible to really navigate. So why don't we look at those teams that have those picks and see what sort of deals we could come up with. Let's see here.
Let's just go from top to bottom there.
Looks like most of the bottom ones are owned. So the 104. So the 104, for example, has a 204. That's more than enough for me.
Yeah.
Then maybe you land Burden and Jaden Higgins or something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that definitely works. If they don't want to part with that, can they give us... Oh, what if we could go... No, never mind. That wouldn't work. I think the only other thing is like a future second. You know? He says his plan is to compete next year, which is perfect because we're doing a 1-year punt. That's great.
Yeah.
So if your plan is to compete next year, you don't need to worry about filling any sort of positions. Your mindset should not be, how do I fill my running back room today? How do I feel, you know, it should always be about how do I get the most value out of every asset I possibly can. So that's going to work well. The 107 here. So like the 107 in Brandon Ayuk is an easy yes. And if that doesn't work, if that's too much of an ask, what would they say? Oh, what if we could send them back like a, would you send them back like a Tony Pollard if they needed it or something? Like a Pollard or a Roman Wilson?
Yeah, I'll be okay with that. I'll be okay if the target's Henderson here. I don't think Tony Pollard. To get Ayuk, yeah, I'll be okay with it.
So basically, what has been the consensus 107 so far has been Judkins. So his goal was Henderson, but he ends up getting Judkins and Ayuk instead of Henderson and Pollard or Henderson and Wilson. I think we would both be fine with that, but obviously that's up to you. You could also try and go 200 IQ here and see if you can get there first and send the 103 and your 203. Right? I mean...
Yep.
That's a bit of a no-brainer. If you don't want to send that 203, instead, can you send your future second? Maybe you make it in a further year if you want to more tank this year. So a lot of options are at the 107, honestly. All right, beyond the 107, we also have the 105 here. The 107 is going to net you the biggest return as well. But the 105, I mean, the 205 is easy if you want to look at it that way. So you don't end up with Henderson, but you get a T-Mac or a Hunter. That's totally
within
fine
that
with
same
me.
tier that we're okay with. Yep.
I don't think much else makes sense with that team, so we'll leave that one there. The 106 is, I'm guessing, from the 12 spot.
Yeah, 106 201 is ideal.
That is actually perfect. That is your ideal outcome there. In fact, you can send like your 403 to get that done. If that doesn't work, can you make it the 403 and the 410? So any of these are ideal outcomes. I think my favorite is the 106 201. But I like all these. I would do any single one of these.
I would do all of them. Once again, tiering back and then putting names to those seconds, it just gives you the depth and gives you more time, more players to utilize and play with later.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So let's look at a DK Metcalf sell as well. I think if you wanted to contend this year, you could probably keep DK, and maybe you need to wait until in season, you know, if he recovers value. But I would say like a future first from a team would be ideal if there's someone that's willing to pay that. Now, if not, I'm curious like where he kind of ranks amongst this rookie class on KTC, which we don't love, but we want to use it as a weapon, as we always say. So he's like right around, wow. Yeah, I mean, you could almost turn it into Worthy, a Dunze.
Who's this for? Sorry?
DK?
Yeah, okay. Just want to double check.
Yeah, I mean, if you could turn Metcalf into like a Worthy or an Ibuka or an Adunze, I think that's ideal.
I would personally be okay with that. Yeah, I'm willing to flip, and especially if you're a 1-year punt, and if you can't get the value that you can get for DK right now, sell in season. I think DK is a big sell in season for any future first or any of those pivot options, right? Even if Rome doesn't have the best breakout year first, but DK is a top 12 wide receiver, that's kind of something that I personally will be doing. I just want to get him off my team, especially as an older player and not somebody I'm truly. Not that I'm not believing in him, but like he's just another situation, right?
And again, like we can add Tony Pollard to these deals should we need to, and then ask back for like a third or something, you know, to kind of try and match values. But we could leave the review at that, honestly. Like it doesn't sound like he wants to sell Joe Burrow. So let me know. I mean, I can show you what it would look like if you want, but we also don't have to explore that if you're like, look, I just want to build around Burrow. That's fine as well. So let us know. But that is a pretty in detail game plan anyway already. But I'm definitely leaning 1 year punt with this one.
Yeah. Appreciate you, though. Thank you so much for your support. You should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours there, with everything customized to your team. But thank you so much, man.
So he did say, what could I get for Burrow? We can explore it. So if you're going to tear down from Burrow, I think ideal targets are like your Nix, Caleb. So Bo Nix, Caleb Williams. Let's see. Bo Nix, Caleb Williams. You could even go like JJ McCarthy. Let's try those. Those three make a lot of sense to me. And you can get more the further you go down there, right? So let's have a look. So what could you get on top of Bo Nix? Let's see who owns Bo Nix. So this team would definitely be interested with the lineup they have. So you could probably net like a Bo Nix, the 110, and a future first.
Okay.
You know? So that pretty much guarantees you Egbuka, if you look at it that way. Nix, Egbuka, and a future first. And if that's not possible, again, can we use Tony Pollard as that piece to make a deal go over the line? Now, if you can't get the future first, I don't know where the deal is going to happen because they're not going to give you Lab McConkey. But even, like, would you not do like Bo Nix and Lab McConkey? Because I would.
Yeah, I would do that. I would.
There's like a hypothetical. All right, and we can look at the Caleb Williams team as well. So let's see who has Caleb. So this would be like Caleb 107. I don't think you can net more than that, but like maybe you could throw Reed in there or the 207.
Ooh.
Something like this. So instead of Burrow, you end up with Caleb and Judkins, for example, that you could add to your roster. Or if you don't want to do it that way, can you just ask for Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams? I mean, can you get an extra first? See how far you can push it. But if they don't want to give up that 207, can you get 2 future firsts with Caleb? I think that's a no-brainer. JJ is the one that you're going to get the most return on because he has the most to prove. So it would be like McCarthy, the 104 and a first, which I would be totally fine to do in your position, right? Because you're adding McCarthy and either T-Mac or Hunter or Henderson or whatever and a future first. You're still building around this young core. So those are kind of the ideas that we have, but I definitely appreciate you letting us review the squad. I appreciate the support, and hopefully that was helpful, man. Let us know if you have any final questions there.
Oh, yeah. That's love, man. Thank you so much. I think I already gave you the spiel, but I can give it to you again. You should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours in the Flock Fantasy Message System, customized with everything that we drew up here for you today there. But thank you so much for the support.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so we have been live for almost 2 hours now. I think what we'll do is we'll go to Matthew, and then is Boot here? Because if we can ask Boot if they're happy to wait till tomorrow, they would be the first one after the rookie draft tomorrow that we can do on the stream. Let us know if that's okay. I'm assuming that's you, Brandon. Let us know if you're cool with that. If not, we can maybe figure out if we can do it tonight. But you would be the very first one we did on tomorrow's stream after the rookie draft. Let us know if that's cool. Does that sound good, Brandon? Okay, cool. So we'll make you first on tomorrow's stream. But if you guys are out there and watching, you want this kind of process for your own teams, you want us to look in depth at them, you want your playbook. It's very simple, guys. You can use the promo code LAND on the Flock site to become an annual Mother Flocker member. That will get you a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. Get a team review through Zach Kabadaki. Crucial to make sure you slide it up to live if you want it done live. The baseline one is an offline one where I basically give you like an article of your team. And the live one is shown on the stream like you're seeing today. All right. Let's go to Matthew here.
All right, Matthew.
And if Q's is watching, you're currently offline. I sent you a message on how you can upgrade if you want to.
Appreciate you, Matthew. Obviously, jump in at any point in time. We know how this goes. We appreciate you. This is a 2-quarterback, 16-team start 9. So another meat and potatoes here for this one, which we'll put there. I'll put that on this format there as well. Meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes. Nice. Okay.
Nice.
I need help. I need help trying to beat this guy above me in the rankings. He has some big dogs to go against any hope for me. I got Hampty Dampty at the 105, and that helped. I got Hurts and Godwin by sending DJ and Herbert a lot of mouths to feed in Chicago. That's why I did it. Okay. You are currently ranked 2nd out of 16. And before we even look at your team, let's look at the team at the 1 spot, because you're saying that this is a team that is...
He's the one that's in your head rent-free from the sounds of it.
Caleb, Penix, JJ, Gibbs, Ashton. Yeah, that's tough. Then he has Malik, Collins, Marvin, Devontae, yeah, with TJ. Definitely tough for sure. I mean, not ideal. But all right, let's have a look at your team then.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts with no QB3 to speak of, which is okay. Amarion Hampton, Ramondre Stevenson, and Woody Marks, so no RB2 to speak of here either. AJ Brown, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, Jalen Coker there as well. So not a strong wide receiver with George Kittle and Jonnu Smith here.
It's a weaker team than I thought it was going to be, given that it was ranked 2nd.
Yeah, I thought so as well. I thought you would have a little bit more depth with a team like this. I guess we'll go straight into some admin. I mean, Untouchables, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts are 2 guys we want to keep for the future. Potentially, maybe tier down. I don't know. We'll have a look.
We might try and explore a Hurts tier down, honestly, but let's just assume.
Hold. I'll say Amarion Hampton, Jalen McMillan, Jalen Coker are 2 big holds, and I guess you can also throw in Woody Marks in there as a hold as well. Easy drops. Will Shipley, and then we can also put...
Well, I'd rather keep Shipley and drop Sanders or Bond, or Trask is an easy one as well.
Yeah, true.
Elijah Higgins, I'd rather keep Shipley over those names.
Sure, we can do that there. What else do you have here? I guess draft capital. I think you have all your firsts and seconds all across the board. So just the B flat.
B flat's fine, yeah.
And then overall team grade. What are you thinking there?
It's a weird one, honestly, because you have a lot of top end names, but the depth is truly woeful. I would lean like a B-. Think about the starting lineup. It would be Daniels, Hurts, Hampton. There's no RB2 here, so we'll say Stevenson for now. AJ, we don't even know if Godwin's going to be good to go. And maybe you could have relied on McMillan, but Igbuka's there now.
Yeah.
Then Kittle, and you need to start 2 more names. I don't really know where those 2 names come from, honestly. I have no idea where those names come from. And by the way, we don't even know if you can rely on Hampton yet. So you have 2 flexes that we can't rely on, non-existent, and you don't have an RB2.
Well, he says
we start 1 running back and 1 wide receiver and have 3 flexes. Okay.
Okay, so
Well,
that changes some things. Maybe
that's better. That's better, assuming Hampton can carry you. But then you're having to ask another one of these receivers to flex for you, which we already can't rely on. So it's not really that different, honestly, because you go from relying on Ramondre Stevenson, which you can't, to relying on Leggett, which you can't, or McMillan and Godwin in the same lineup, or Coker. You know, the tough part about this entire wide receiver room is if Leggett is relevant, Coker's probably not with T-Mac there. If Godwin's relevant, Jalen's probably not with the wide receiver room they have. So I don't see how we don't tear down from Hurts, honestly. I don't know how you don't tear down from Hurts.
Yeah, I'm there with
It's a 16-team league, so I'm trying to give credit for that. I'm trying to like keep that in mind. But I almost think you have to.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I'm happy to tear down from Hurts for sure.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I you know, the draft was nice. You needed Hampton desperately. Outside of Hampton, there's really not a name we can point to that's going to be impact for you. You know what I mean? So really, outside of Hampton, there is no one on this roster I can point to that's going to make a big impact. But you needed Hampton desperately. He says, "I've tried, but everyone says depth is king." That is difficult because, yeah, I mean, look, you're in a 16-team league. People are going to care a lot about depth. So do we have to dangle Jaden Daniels then?
we can do that. I've tried, but everyone's saying depth is king, which I get. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
Just looking at some quarterback needy teams.
we're going to have to, if people are saying depth is king, then we're going to have to try and go to the bottom of the barrel here as far as how far down we would tear down to. So like JJ McCarthy, you can't tear down from Hurts to Bo Nix in this league from the sounds of it. McCarthy, Penix, shoot, Jared Goff maybe is someone that we can get a plus from. Baker Mayfield maybe. And he says the guy above him has both Penix and McCarthy. Yeah, he's your main competition. Like, full transparency, I don't see anyone beating his team with the depth that he has. But
with the depth, yeah, I think this is probably the biggest thing here. I mean, he does have incredible depth, which is not something that you want to see, especially
maybe try Dak.
Yeah, because he has Jameer. Like, he's going to be starting Ashton Genty in the flex. So he's starting Ashton, Nico, Marvin in that flex spot.
Yeah, we might have to go even farther down to like a Fields and see what's possible. So, I mean, look, if he can give us like McCarthy, Collins, Reed.
Bro has a Thanos team in the 16. He kind of does, low key.
Maybe we can send him like our 26 second or something. But I don't imagine this is possible based off what you've said. And obviously you don't want to make the best team better. Maybe you don't need to send that second with the Penix deal. He's a little bit cheaper. And maybe you can try a third first, but it sounds like it's going to be tough waters. Who has Goff? The Goff team, yeah, I mean, they're definitely not going to upgrade with Jalen Milroe as their quarterback too. So that's not possible. The Baker team, it's possible. It's just difficult because I don't really know how you even the value out. Like we don't really want to make it Baker, Jacobs, and Jacoby. That's just not enough. Yeah, I don't know how that's possible. Maybe Baker. So Baker and Dak, he has both of them. So those aren't really possible. Oh, that's really frustrating. How about Tua? We got to go that far down, maybe?
Have to go Tua, yeah.
Tua, the depth in this league, it's a 16-team league, so makes sense. But we're not going to go like Tua Khalil Shakir.
Clear, yeah, you're not going to do that.
It would have to be Tua Amon-Ra.
But if that's trading away his wide receiver one in his mind, so like
I agree. I wouldn't do it, but I would send the offer.
Yeah.
You're in a difficult spot. Like, you could try Fields, Pickens, and 2 firsts or something.
Fields, Pickens, 2 first.
Maybe you can send back like a second in the future. If that's not possible, yeah, like I really don't want to. I guess we can say like 1 first and 1 second.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but look, full transparency. This is the nature. And honestly, the more I look at these teams, the more I think you're going to make the playoffs. It's just, this is maybe just the nature of a 16-team league. What about like a Bryce Young, a Judkins, and a Worthy? That might actually be the one that makes the most sense. That might make the most sense, honestly, of any of the ones we've done.
Almost makes me think like, is it worth tearing down if I'm not going to get any of these guys? Like, do I just use?
Well, you only tear down if you get this package, like the packages we talked about.
No question. Because look, thinking about it, his starting lineup: Daniels, Hurts, Amarion, AJ Brown, Hiddle. Then you start 3: Chris Godwin, Jonnu Smith.
There's just no one.
Unless you use your second or you use your first, but then that puts you in like a windows open territory, which makes it difficult.
Yeah, I think worst case in season, if you can't get one of these deals done and you're struggling, you can look at, okay, can I send my 26 first away for, a Zay Flowers, hypothetically, Addison if he's performing, Worthy. You kind of start to look at that in season, but definitely one of the more difficult leagues to navigate, I'd say, Matthew.
Yeah.
I can recognize that, and would love to answer any questions that you have. I mean, even AJ Brown, I don't really think you can tear down from anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, for me, I probably prefer T-Mac and Hunter. So you can't really, like, could you go like AJ to Olave in a first or something? There's not much wiggle room there. And you need a name like AJ to compete, so.
Yeah, you do. You definitely do. But Matthew, man, appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. You know how and when you should be getting your playbook within 24 to 48 hours in the Flock Fantasy Message system. But please let us know if you have any last minute questions.
Yeah. I want to make sure we give you a great review, as always. So if there's anything we didn't do well enough, please let us know, my friend. But as we wait on that, that might be it. Once Matthew's done, that might be it for today. I don't think we have any other trade questions that were submitted. So tomorrow we'll be back, though, with a real rookie draft. It's our second to last one of the year. And yeah, he says, for sure, a tough one. I'll keep you updated on this one. Injuries smacked us all last year. Yeah, you definitely would have had a shot with Godwin performing the way he was and with McMillan performing the way he was at the end of the year. But that's the nature of a 16-team league. It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, appreciate you, though, man.
All right. He says, thank you for your insight. I will try and work on a tear down. Would you do Daniels for Nix and Irving? Oh, that's a toughie.
Yeah.
If he could make it Nix, Irving, Higgins, and you sent like a third back, maybe. But even then, that feels light. That just feels too light.
Don't love it.
Maybe not.
It needs to be something else, like Zach said. But even then, like, I don't think he's gonna add Higgins into that, which could be a little bit difficult. But
yeah. All right. We appreciate you, Matthew. We appreciate all of you guys. It's a great time to submit your team playbook. Let us know. You can message us on Discord if you have any questions. But that is the end of today's stream. And we'll see you tomorrow night. And that's it. Nothing but love. See you guys.
Love.